Alrighty, and we are live. How's it going, baseball fans? Appreciate you guys chiming in. This is Wardy. For those that don't know, I cover the Mets, but I love, of course, all baseball. That is Mike at Stark Ravens Sports, over 120,000 subscribers. If you don't know him, I don't know what the heck's wrong with you. Robbie Hyde over there, another great baseball YouTuber, over 30K subs. And of course, behind me, that is Jim at Ballcap Sports, over 30K subs, covering all things baseball. And that is my brother next to him, Richie, who is now a YouTuber today and probably only today. So this is gonna be really fun show. We're gonna be covering literally just sharing our raw predictions to everything this year for the MLB season, including we'll actually start with the WBC as Team USA is playing as we speak. So we're going to share our predictions for that, who we think is going to win the whole thing. Then we're going to go through each division for the MLB and share our predictions, who's going to win, maybe have some hot debates, shoot the shit a little bit. We're just going to have fun with it, and then share also our award predictions if we get to it. I know that's not ideal time for our live viewers as it's a quarter to midnight already. So we appreciate everyone chiming in wherever you're coming from whatever channel, because we're on every YouTube channel. So make sure to smash that like and subscribe button. Make sure to check out each other's channels too. If say you haven't checked out mine, Stark Ravens Sports, Robbie Hyde, Ballcap Sports. Make sure to check them all out if you haven't. But yeah, I'm excited. How you guys doing?
Feeling good.
Feeling good?
Thanks for being here, everybody. Drinking some hard Mountain Dew, about to get smashed on this stream. We're doing. Yeah, we out here. Jim's got it too. I'm gonna pass. We got an actual British guy here next to me. He's watching.
My homeland. We had a 1-0 lead at one point, and I couldn't believe it. But now I'm sad. So it's okay. We had our moment. But Jim, how you feeling, man?
Let me get this. I'm feeling good. You have to deal with the mic and the wire. I'm feeling good. This is a 2023 season prediction stream / Kyle Schwarber official statesman appreciation stream from his performance tonight. I apologize. The only time that Kyle Schwarber is going to positive words spoken on WardyNYM. What's your good stat?
So Jared Carabas tweeted this out. So Kyle Schwarber has now homered in both the AL and NL wildcard game, both the American League and National League Division Series, both the American League and National League Championship Series, the World Series, and now the World Baseball Classic. What a stat.
He's a king.
He hits bombs, is what he's saying.
Yes. And Trace Thompson as well.
You got something you want to say, you schmuck?
Yeah, you schmuck. Yeah. So, Richie, we're going to get to you. So let's start off with World Baseball Classic predictions, right? It's the heat of it tomorrow. For those that don't know, we're all in a group. We're going to be we're in Port St. Lucie right now. We're going to hit Mets-Rays game tomorrow. And then in the night, we're going to Miami to check out Venezuela versus Puerto Rico. We're all documenting it in different ways. So there's going to be a lot of content coming out over the next week. So make sure to check that out. But the WBC is popping right now. So we figured, even though that technically this is an MLB prediction show, let's start with the WBC briefly. We see all the top teams. And I have to stay true in my prediction I did on my Bleav in Queens podcast the other day. And I chose Team USA to win it all. So with that being said, we'll go in order, Mike, and then Richie. We'll end with you. Let me know what your predictions are. Who do you think is going to win the whole thing?
All right. I really do want to give my props to the Czech Republic. I really, in my heart, want them to win because, they're a bunch of, firefighters and lawyers and salesman type guys. I really want them to win. So I do actually want to manifest it and say Czech Republic. But if I'm putting out my brain, give me the U.S. as well.
I'm going Team Japan all the way. I think Japan, the starting rotation with Ohtani, Darvish, you got Sasaki, who's going to be a phenom. He's going to be the next great pitcher from Japan. You got, let me see if I'm saying this right, Yoshinobu Yamamoto. Always struggle on that one. That is amazing starting pitching, if you ask me. And then you got good bats as well. Ohtani. You got Yoshida in there. You got Munetaka Murakami. Had 56 home runs last year in Japan. Yeah.
He's posted 2 years too.
They're just a very well-disciplined team. They want to win this thing every single time. So easy pick for me, Japan.
I am torn because I'm on the Dominican Republic bandwagon, but I'm sitting here watching the USA wearing a USA hat, telling you that the Dominican Republic is going to do it. But at the same time, I'm really riding that Japan wave. So I literally couldn't be more torn in 3 different directions. But because 2 or 3 or 4, I don't even know what today is. However many days ago, I said that it would be Dominican Republic. I just gotta roll with it, even though I'm wearing a USA hat, and I'm really feeling the team. I'm feeling the team Japan. I'm feeling the team Japan vibes. Richie, let's see. We might need you to lean a little bit forward. Yep.
All right. I mean,
There you go.
how's that? Better?
There you go.
Making his debut.
Perfect.
There we go. All right. I'm thinking, I don't know. I don't want to really go along with Tyler here, but I think I'm thinking USA. I just think depth wise, they have a really deep bench. Starting pitching is good. I think that they'll rally from this now and keep it going. So I'm thinking USA. America. Aside from the Jays fans watching this. Okay, so love the picks again. You know, it's funny that we're saying this when inevitably Team Italy is going to win the whole thing. You know, the Dark Knight Matt Harvey's going to carry. Vinny Pasquantino, you know, all the studs they got there, led by Mike Piazza. But okay, getting back to some serious matters now. Now let's get into MLB season predictions. And guys, if you're watching the show live, of course, make sure you get the chat popping. Let us know your predictions for the season. You know, coming out of the NL, AL, each individual division. You know, whoever you're a fan of, especially that division, let us know your predictions in there, where you're coming from. And of course, make sure you continue smashing that like and subscribe button for people on replay. Same thing applies. Let us know your predictions for everything throughout the entire 2023 MLB season and awards in the comments below. Really would appreciate. So let's start now with the AL, and let's start with the AL East. You know, Jim, this is going to be, you know, your bread and butter. Same thing with you, Robbie. So, you know, you got all those teams in the AL East. And for me, as much as I'm on the Baltimore Orioles hype train, don't get me wrong, just as much as the next guy right now, I think that they are certainly going to be the future in that division. However, I think we're going to see quite a bit of the same from last year. And because of that reason, as much as I don't want to say this team, I do think the Yankees are going to repeat for the division. I think the Blue Jays I could see the Blue Jays win it, but Blue Jays in that offense, you know, losing Teoscar, losing Semien the past couple of years, their pitching still worries me a little bit. So while they did add some veteran bats, I think the Yankees will still probably take the cake. They haven't really done any offensive upgrades, but I think if they really give a leash to, you know, Volpe or Peraza there at short, I think that can do wonders for them this year. So while I don't expect the Yankees to necessarily go all the way, and we'll get into that further prediction, I think I have to go with the Yanks. Again, as unfortunate as that is, but as a Mets fan, so Yankees fans know where I'm coming from, please. Okay.
How
dare you,
sorry.
I do just want to say, like, circling back a minute ago, you said, like, we weren't being serious when you said Italy was going to win the World Baseball Classic. I need all my fellow Guidos to rise up here. Yanks are taking that division. I think that there's still a gap between them and all these other teams. You can't count any of them out yet. They're all really good. They all could. Even a team like Boston, who you would say on paper got a little weaker, they definitely are good enough to probably make a push at 500 even, I think, just because that division is so talented top to bottom. But I think the Yankees are the most proven and currently the most talented when healthy.
All right, I'm going to go against the grain. I'm going to go with the Blue Jays in this one. I love the offseason the Blue Jays had. Like, I thought it was very underrated. Dalton Varsho, to me, was a huge pickup for them. But what I liked about the Blue Jays offseason is that they added lefty bats. They were very righty-heavy last year, so they've added more balance in that lineup. Varsho, Brandon Belt. I think Belt's going to have a bounce-back year. This guy's a veteran guy. Mm-hmm. What was his nickname on the Giants? The captain?
The captain.
So he already came out and said, like, hey, we're a World Series team. Mm-hmm. Like, I think it's a good team. The starting pitching, we were talking about Jose Barrios at the game. Mm-hmm. I think he's going to have a bounce-back year. But now some pressure is being taken off of him by adding Chris Bassett. So he can work more as like a 4 now in that rotation. I think this is a guy that eats innings. That rotation has a lot of depth. The bullpen looks really good. You added Eric Swanson with that trade with Teoscar Hernandez. Really good guy last year with the Mariners. I just really like this Blue Jays team, like all the way around. I think they're very good. They got some decent prospects that could come up this year. Otto Lopez had a good year in the minors last year. I think he can maybe come up at some point.
WRC plus king.
I like what the Blue Jays got going on. Will it be enough to beat the Yankees? We'll have to see. The Yankees are definitely still really good. But I'll go the optimistic route, the Blue Jays here. I'll go against the grain. Blue Jays.
I'm gonna watch my head real quick.
So I would love to take my team, but I think, and Robbie, I could kiss you. Thank you for picking the Toronto Blue Jays. I still think that this is the Yankees division until the Blue Jays do it. So it's the Yankees and it's the Blue Jays. They will go back and forth. I think the Blue Jays can win the division, but unfortunately, I think they're going to need some help from the baseball gods. They may need Garrett Cole to miss a month. They may need Aaron Judge to miss some time. The Blue Jays win that division, unfortunately, if the Yankees have some injury problems. Maybe because I'm a Blue Jays fan, I can't pick the Blue Jays to win the division. That may be what's happening, Richie.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to go Yankees too. So I'm a firm believer that the injuries up front will make for a longer year, in the fact that you'll get those out of the way earlier on. So I think just the Yankees. I mean, they spend way too much money to not be at the top of this thing, and I think right now with the roster that they do have, once those guys come back from injury, especially Rodon, I mean, I think they're going to be great. So I still think Yankees.
I have one more thing to add. If you have not yet, hit that like, whichever channel you are watching on, hit that like. And if you haven't hit the like yet, go ahead. I'll wait. I'm waiting. Hit that like. Help support the streams, everybody.
Okay. Do you have to? Okay.
Yes. All of you at home right now, I'm going to tell you this right now. They are going to compete for a third wild card. I know everyone at home just groaned, and my draft neck Robbie is showing right now, but they're going to be better than you think. I'm going to tell you this all right now. I don't know if they're going to make the playoffs, but they're going to compete for a third wild card. They'll be right there. And if you don't like it, then eat my shorts. I don't care. There you go.
I guess I'm reading his shorts. All right. Well, that being said, let's get on to. I do see a couple donations I want to address quick, and then we'll go forward. Shout out to Elliot, a great subscriber, good friend of mine on my channel. I said, I'm so glad to see my favorite YouTubers together. I appreciate that. Appreciate all the members from everyone's channels coming in. Darren, shout out to you, UK Mets fan. Appreciate everyone. Michael, he's a member on someone else's channel. I think so. I could be wrong. Padres won the NL West by 5 games. Okay, we'll get to your Padres. Don't worry. Conman says, prediction for O's. Do they finish at or above 500 and maybe add a pitcher at the trade deadline? I mean, without us going together for I'm going to just probably say I think that they at minimum finish 500, and I see a world where they could be above 500. I don't think that is out of the realm of possibility at all, and I definitely think that they would be interested in pitching at the trade deadline. However, I know that they're really hyped up with their pitching prospects this year. I don't know exactly who's going to be making their debuts, but they do have some nice depth, like farm-wise. They just, lack the type of veteran presence. So, yeah, if the Orioles are pushing for a wild card spot, if not higher, by the trade deadline, I think that's very feasible as well. So again, appreciate that donation. So with that being said, let's get on to, we'll continue with the AL, then we'll get to some more donations that we see here. Again, appreciate you guys throwing those donos our way. It really does mean a lot. Just give me 1 second, everybody. Just double checking, making sure we're staying on track the best we can. Mike, you can fill in for a minute.
Yeah, everyone, shout out Tyler for, making our lives easier organizing this, no matter what channel you're on, that Tyler's kind of, leading the way. It's good though. Like, I want to thank everybody for being here too. Like, just the idea of, the boys riffing about baseball. It's so on brand for all of us. Like, I know for the Stark Raving Sports viewers, we just titled it like literally just baseball YouTubers talking about baseball, because like that's kind of the vibe we're going for. And just that idea of like, let's just do it. Let's do a late night stream talking amongst the boys. So how much longer do I need to stall for you, my friend? There you go. On the money.
I appreciate that. Great filler. All right. So now let's get on the AL Central. Now this is an interesting one, because for those that don't know, I'm like the most casual White Sox fan you'll ever meet. They're my team out of the AL. I just chose them years ago when they started to make their moves, like when they did the Chris Sale trade, because I'm a big Yoan Moncada fan. I know that he's not looked great the past year and a half, but I do think he's due for a bounce back season. Of course, love Robert Robert, however you want to say his name, Eloy Jimenez. They got plenty of pieces. I really like their farm too. They've done great with their international prospects. So I've always had this type of soft spot for the White Sox, and they drastically underperformed last year. So like the heart of me wants to say White Sox are finally, going to dominate and win this division. But those guards are so nice. They just internally, they're so nice. And on top of that, I think Minnesota has that potential. And for the sake of being interesting and not saying basically the same picks that we all saw last year, I'm going to go with Minnesota in hopes that, in my opinion, one of the best players in the game, Byron Buxton, can just stay healthy. If this guy can stay healthy, I really think he can help carry. Same thing with Carlos Correa. He might not be a Met, but again, same thing applies. If he can stay healthy, I think he will have a very strong season. And they got some young studs there that are coming in through the ranks that we've seen in the infield the past year. And again, rotation-wise, Tyler Mahle gained a full camp with them. Kenta Maeda coming back from injury. They got some pieces there. So, again, might not be the flashiest team. Not saying they're going to go on a deep run. But Minnesota, they can stay healthy. I don't think it's the wildest thing to imagine them potentially winning that division. So I'm going to go with the fairly hot take and take the Twins.
I got Cleveland until further notice. Love what they did last year. Definitely got better. They pitch. Pitching wins championships. I'm going to speak in cliches a little bit. Be Mike Tomlin for a little bit and just live off that. I do think that Cleveland, Jimenez is a good cornerstone. You definitely have to have a little. I think this is a team that probably adds in the season. You look for kind of that 2021 Braves model where you bring in a few veterans down the stretch. The pitching is there. The bullpen is filthy. I think that if you are ever like in the box against Emmanuel Clase, even as a major leaguer, and you're expecting to do anything, you're kind of insane. So that's just a team that, because it got better, you saw what they did last year. They almost made that run to the CS. I think that it's going to be a really tight division. I think all these teams, the top three teams, are pretty close, like only a few games separated. But I think Cleveland emerges from the top.
All right. So I'm going to go with Wardy as well. I'm going to go with the Twins. I feel like I was a part of a very small percentage last year that picked the Guardians to actually make the playoffs.
You did. I give you props for that.
And Foolish Baseball is on that bandwagon too. But I don't know why. I just really like the Twins. I really like their lineup. Correa is now back for the long haul. Buxton, like you said, if healthy, I feel like they've found a way to get at least 100 games out of him. I think if you get 100 games out of him, that's pretty good if you ask me. I think Joey Gallo is gonna have a huge year. I think I know there was like the thing where they moved the left fielder over to right in spring training or whatever, but I think he's gonna be fine. I think he's going to be fine. I think he's going to be good. But honestly, my favorite move here comes Draftnik Robbie again. But my favorite move with the Twins in the offseason was Christian Vasquez. He adds a lot of hey, leave me alone, okay? No, he adds a lot of intangibles, in my opinion. He's very good with the pitching staff, very good defensively. I think he's going to be an underrated add for them. I really like the starting pitching, Pablo Lopez. I think that's going to be solid. They're getting Kenta Maeda back. They got a lot of depth in that rotation, and I think that's going to carry them through the regular season. And the bullpen, Jorge Lopez they added. Got Duran, the guy who throws absolute gas at the back end. I really like this Twins team. Royce Lewis should come back at some point. He was really good before he got hurt, so I don't know where he could play, but he should be able to help, I think, at some point. I like the Twins. But this division, I think we can all agree it's pretty up in the air. I think Twins are good. The White Sox could bounce back. Cleveland's solid. Even the Tigers maybe want a magical run. I think it's just always up in the air. And you even said it at the game. You think the Royals are a fun-looking team. So who knows? But I'll go with the Twins.
Can I just add one quick thing?
You want a rebuttal?
I know you said Vasquez just because he's like your doppelganger. Like you're the white version of Vasquez. Like, let's be honest here. Yeah.
Yeah, it's hard. Robbie and Tyler, I'm sorry, you're just wrong. It's Cleveland. It's Cleveland's division, and they are they're going to do it every time. I gave them a ton of shit last year saying that they were going to tank and it was over and it was done because there was rumors of trading Jose Ramirez. And then they didn't trade Jose Ramirez and they locked him in. Shane Bieber got better, got back closer to the Bieber level. I think Bieber is going to get even more back to what we saw when he first burst on the scene. So I'm taking Cleveland just because I just can't doubt them or go against them. I have to ride this wave. Richie?
All right, so I'm thinking the Twins too. Two main reasons: Correa and Lopez. And with Lopez, I feel like he's been in trade rumors for years now. And I mean, you got to be a good player to be involved in trade rumors. So I think that that's going to be a good fit for him. And I feel like Correa is probably one of the best clubhouse leaders in the league, teaching everybody especially the new kids, these intangibles that you usually don't get. I think he's really going to help elevate the team, and I could really see the Twins making some noise. Carlos Correa. That damn ankle. We'll see how it looks this year, huh? We'll see how it looks. All right, now let's get on to the final one. We're getting to the AL West here, and this is a spicy one. We got people in the live chat, and we'll get your donations. Don't worry, guys. We just want to fish the AL before we get to them. It's got people saying, Rangers 100% making playoffs. I mean, the New York Rangers, yes. But, when you look at the standings here, you look at the Houston Astros, and anyone with a rational baseball mind cannot say that they significantly downgraded. They might have a World Series like hangover to start the year. That isn't the most shocking thing at all. I mean, you can argue that we saw that a little bit with the Braves too, heading into 2022. First half, very mediocre, and then of course second half they did what they did. But I look at the Astros, and you add Jose Abreu, who is one of the best bats at first base for the past decade plus. Phenomenal clubhouse guy. It still baffles me that the White Sox let him walk when he was the leader of that franchise, and also phenomenal with helping draw international, getting international signings. It was massive. So I think that he's going to help do wonders and really just make the Astros team, if not better than last year, then at minimum equally as good. And Justin Verlander's gone. I'm a Mets fan, but I know confidently that the Astros rotation is going to be just fine. They have this guy, what is his name? Hunter Brown, right? Yes. Yeah, Hunter Brown, kind of has the exact same lineup and release point as JV. I think that he's the future in that rotation for sure. But right now, you got Valdez, you got Javier, you got Garcia. That core three is going to take them places. It wouldn't be surprising to see one of them potentially even be a winner of the Cy Young, and we'll get to that shortly. But yeah, it would be silly for me to pick anyone besides the Astros. It really would be. The Mariners, I love them. I argue that they're America's team, but having said that, the Astros haven't shown any signs of dumbing down a little bit with their skill and their talent. So for all those reasons, it's got to be Houston still.
Houston.
That's all you need to say.
Yeah, Houston as well. Yep. That's all I'm going to say.
Texas Rangers suck. It's Houston. Wait. Rougned Odor sucks. Houston.
It's Houston. Let's get to the NL.
Yeah.
All right, let's get to the NL, shall we? And we'll go to the NL East, which I don't want to talk about, mainly because it's from, again, a fan perspective, that someone that covers the Mets, I don't want to just flat say the Mets, and I feel like I'm going to jinx them right away, right? And it's like you don't want to say the Braves or the Phillies, but it's a toss-up. So I am going to go with, you look at this three-headed monster in the NL East, right? You look at what the Braves did by losing Dansby Swanson. I think that they're going to be fine for the most part. I think it's going to hurt them a little bit. Vaughn Grissom's defense definitely needs work. The bat-to-ball skills is there. I think he's going to have a fine year. I also think that Albie's coming back and being fully healthy is really going to make the loss of Swanson not as prominent as maybe some people realize. And Michael Harris, of course, is going to be stud again this year. Rotation looks strong. If they get Soroka back at any point, that scares me because, in my opinion, when healthy and when right, I think he's the most dominant pitcher in that rotation still. I think he has potential to be. But then you look at the Phillies. The Phillies just did this thing by going to the World Series, and now they added Trey Turner. They add Taijuan Walker. They added more to the pen. That team's better than what they were last year. They shocked everyone. I think that the Mets are going to have great battles with them personally, but instead of going with the stereotypical Braves, again, I'm going to go with the team that actually surpassed both the Braves and the Mets when it mattered most, and that is the Phillies. And again, if the Mets don't win the division, I really can care less. All I care about is them actually getting out of that first round, whether that's a wild card or NLDS. And, Phillies proved that you don't got to be the best team in the division to have a run, and they surely did. So I might surprise people, but division-wise, I'm going to go with the Phillies.
What? I can't even hold the mic. My bad. Do I have to? How can I deflect as long as possible? As you know, a guy wearing a Mets shirt.
You want to pick them up.
I do kind of love that. Alfredo Despaigne is a sex symbol for those watching the WBC. What else can I talk about baseball? It doesn't have to do with the Mets. I think
Mets going Saturday. All right.
I'll take the Mets. Just
You be that guy for me.
yeah, I'll do it. All right. I don't want to have to talk about this anymore because, this is only going to lead to pain. So, you want to do something? You want to just help me here?
Let's do it. No, I'm going Mets. I'll say that confidently. I really like what the Mets. I mean, how can you not like what the Mets did this offseason? Like, they had an incredible offseason. Even not getting Carlos Correa.
That was just a cherry on top.
It was ridiculous. That was on pace for the most ridiculous offseason in history at any team in Major League Baseball, but still very good. You got Verlander. You got Kadai Senga, he is a wild card. I mean, we don't know what he's going to do, but his stuff is.
Speak of this, we were supposed to see him pitch tonight.
Yep.
And now he has tendonitis. So
great.
That's where we're at. But we still love Senga.
Right. Rotation is deep. You got Quintana, who has a fractured rib now, but he'll be back eventually. I like the starting rotation. Actually, over the last few weeks, I was doing like a breakout hitters and pitchers lists or whatever. One guy I was looking at was David Peterson. He was actually pretty good.
Nasty strikeout.
His xFIP and FIP were below 4 last year. I feel like he really flew under the radar. I mean, he was kind of in and out of the rotation, bullpen. He kind of doesn't really have a role right now unless someone gets hurt. But I think he can be a guy that actually is just good depth for them. And then the lineup, it's solid top to bottom. Lindor had a great season last year. Alonso going to keep giving the power. The Mets also are going to go out there and they're going to make some kind of a trade. So I could see them possibly adding a bat, maybe somewhere. I don't know where exactly, but DH, how will Vogelbach do? I could see them adding something for the lineup.
I tend to agree with you.
But it's funny because we had one of the best moments caught on camera earlier at the game, but I was trying to talk about Brett.
Check it out on my YouTube channel.
It's amazing.
You have to watch it.
I was trying to talk about Brett Beatty, and honestly, I think the Carlos Correa thing could be a blessing in disguise because I think Brett Beatty, that gives him a chance to I think he's gonna be really good. So he's having a good spring, and I think that gives him an opening. Bullpen, that looks great. I mean, obviously Edwin Diaz is back there. You brought in David Robertson. I really like this Mets team. I think they have more depth than last year. I think they're going to do it. The Braves are really good. It's going to be a dogfight, though. It'll absolutely come down again to that last week, I think. So I'll go Mets.
Hold on. I just want to drill it home. No matter who you're here for, Wardy, Stark Raving Sports, Ballcap, Robbie, whatever Richie's channel in a couple days is going to be when he joins the club. Watch that new Wardy video.
It was good.
Yeah, the video specifically is just Mets versus Nationals post-game recap, and then in brackets it says gone wrong. So again, check it out. It is hilarious. All right.
It literally might be a top 5 moment in the history of Tyler's channel. It may be. There are some big moments. I think it's top 5 right now, and it may be top 5 all time. That's how big it is. You have to go check it out. Now, what's interesting about the Mets is that they finished the season heavy against the Phillies. They've got it's insane. 7 of the last 10 games are against the Philadelphia Phillies. I kind of wish 7 of the last 10 were against the Braves because that's the way I'm going to go. Even though Braves fans got so mad at me this offseason, I am riding the Ronald Acuna MVP bandwagon. I think he's got a 40-40 season in him, especially with the pizza boxes out on the field now. I'm all about Ronald Acuna, and I think it's going to – the Mets and Braves will be separated by just a couple of games, and if you get to the last 10 games of the season and the Mets can't even chip away, I just don't like it. And again, Tyler's got the Phillies, which I heard that right, didn't I? Tyler's got the Phillies.
The Mets still may have the Phillies number. The Mets still may have the Phillies number throughout the year, like they did last year.
Right.
But who's not to say that they won't win the division? Like again, they look at the run they did. They have more experience than the previous 2 teams of most recent now. Yes, you lose Bryce for at least the first half, but you replaced him like offensively the best way possible.
Totally.
So like that's the thing.
I love the Phillies. My Phillies, for people who know. But I'm gonna go with the Braves, and I'm probably wrong, but I'm going with the Braves. Richie.
All right. So we all know this is going to be a dogfight. And at least is the deepest division. I mean, it's undeniable. The teams that are in there. I mean, I do think it's going to be the Mets. I think between the Mets and the Braves, the longevity's there. You saw what they did all year. Mets would pull ahead, Braves would be on their heels, vice versa. So I think that combined with the World Series hangover, I think expectations are going to be too high in Philly. And I just don't think that they're going to do as well this year, especially with Jim pointing out the last series in at the end of the year. I mean, the Mets really
literally Mets and Phillies are gonna beat each other up the last week and a half of the season, and the Braves, I don't know who they're playing, but they'll just glide right through because I know they're not
like the opposite of what we saw last year is what you're saying.
Right.
Yes, I got what you're saying.
I could see the Braves gliding right through because they don't have to play the Phillies, they don't have to play the Mets the last week and a half.
So I'm thinking that with what happened last year, I think the Mets are going to take that and use that as motivation to actually finish the year strong. So I think Mets.
There you go. Shout out to William Fulgham. Thank you for the dono. Thank you for the 14 months, William.
Awesome. Shout out to you, William. And like I said, we're going to get to your donations. And actually, let's get to a couple now before we go further, because I said we would do it once we start getting to the NL. So I want to do exactly that. So let me go up in the chat. All right.
There was a $9.99. There it is.
Okay, I'm going to get to that in a second. I just want to see. Okay, here we go. So we'll start from this down. Let's see. Jim Ballcap Sports really disappoint me. I corrected him on something and called him a coward for not addressing it and got banned forever by his mods. Missed out on a ton of money. Please unban me.
Hold on a minute.
Flashman. Who's Flashman?
That's hilarious.
Holy shit.
Is that? Okay. So,
Yo, what did you do? What happened?
no, I think that's my guy. I still have not. I blocked like 5 people on Twitter, and I think he was one of them because that might be the Danny Jansen thing when there were like 5 people being an asshole about it, and I think he might have got sucked into the block.
That's just fantastic, Flashman. Thank you for that donation. You gotta get your shit together, Jim.
Maybe I unblocked
All right.
that guy.
I support all my YouTubers. Thank you, Elliot, for the donation again. I appreciate that. Flashman. Oh, shit.
Who's he giving the money to? He's not giving it to me.
I really want to support Ballcap Nation, but his mods are cowards and soy. I like Jim, but I'm being unfairly victimized and persecuted by his mods.
Fish Flashman. Hold
What?
on. Let me see if I can figure this out, Flashman, for you.
All right. It's clearly a big deal. So let's get down here to the other donations. Thank you again, Elliot. Love you, brother. I appreciate that. I smashed a like. Thank you, man. Let's see if there were any more before we go further. Acuna on a mission, 40-40 Braves went east. William, you're also been a great supporter. I appreciate you too. A nice Braves fan. I don't wish that for Acuna, but it wouldn't shock me, obviously. Braves have the team to win the World Series, and we know it. That's why they won the World Series last year, right? With Dansby Swanson. Stop it. All comes down to one word: execution. Phillies and Mets fans need to know that big money was wins or championships. Here's the thing Okay, that I want to address this briefly. I don't understand why Braves fans have the mindset that like the Mets are purposely just strictly trying to buy to win a championship, when in reality, if you actually have followed the Mets over the years, which I know you Braves fans have because you dominated the division, you love the LOL Mets. The reason why the Mets are spending so much is because they're trying to build their farm. The Mets decide that they want to blow their farm right now, then they won't have the proper structure. Thankfully, the Mets have an owner by the name of Steve Cohen who just doesn't give a rat's ass and is willing to pay the money for whatever guy that he actually wants. And yes, it's an obscene amount, but the obscene amounts, aside from the long-term deal to Francisco Lindor, they're all short-term. It's all solely to just focus on still having a competitive, hopefully championship caliber team now, but also with the purpose of not trading away your farm unless you have the right opportunity. Like if we get to the trade deadline and Ohtani truly is available, that might be the only time you see Billy Epler actually show a level of interest to part with the farm itself. So that is why the Mets are spending, because they're trying to do the Dodgers way. And once they have that farm bill, they're not going to spend nearly as much on a year-to-year basis. They're going to hold off some years the way that we just saw with them letting Trey Turner go. Why? Because they're waiting for Ohtani. So again, I just want to clarify that because there is strategic reasons why Cohen is spending the way he is. He's not acting like a drunken sailor. He's doing this now, but most of these contracts are not long-term. And I think that's something that people need to realize. Again, Braves are a great team, though. Don't get me wrong. It wouldn't shock me at all if they won the division and have a deep run. But, I'm always going to, mess with some Braves fans too because I have to. Oh, yeah. Braves last 10 games are Washington and Cubs. Of course they are. Why wouldn't they be?
Just want to give a shout out, Sound FX, man. Always appreciate your support, man. He's been around for so long. Like,
is he one of your OGs?
He's one of the OGs, man. So he knows his Braves. He I'll tell you, that 2021 season, like he was he had some good things to say about the Braves that year, and hey, he was hitting a lot, man. Sound FX, man, you're the man.
So he must be a diehard. And again, kudos to you. All right, now let's get into the let's do NL Central. NL Central, Brewers, they got Jesse Winker. They're trying to get on the comeback. They handled their arbitration case so well with Corbin Burns. And for all these reasons, that's exactly why the St. Louis Cardinals are going to win without a problem.
I just want to say to everybody watching, if you guys subscribe to Stark Raving Sports and donate, I will personally kiss all of you. Cards by the biggest margin in baseball for any division.
Largely far as him.
Yeah, cards by like 8 to 10 games.
Yeah.
My finger got stuck on the mic.
Yeah, Cardinals as well for me. They're still just a really balanced team. I'm not the biggest fan of the starting pitching, but it's going to be good enough for the regular season. I think the bullpen will be just fine. I think the Cardinals, they added Contreras in the offseason. I thought they could have done more in the offseason, but it's still a good team. Now,
sorry,
but
I don't approve of this profanity.
Sorry.
I was really high on the Cardinals last year. I had them winning the whole thing, and I picked them preseason, and I still stuck with them in the playoff predictions, and that just completely burned. But I will still go with the Cardinals in the Central.
All right, I gotta put my beer down. Hold on. I need the hand. Okay, so hold on, I gotta put this down. So, all right, Flashman, if you're still here, you have to. You have to comment. So I think this goes back to Twitter, if I remember correctly, and then one of the mods got you on YouTube. You have got to. I got you on YouTube. You have got to comment with your Twitter name so that we can get the Twitter thing fixed too. Okay. Now, what are we talking about? The NL Central. I like the Cubs, but I don't like them that much. I think it's the Cardinals. And I think the real thing to watch in the NL Central is to see if the Brewers are bad, do they start to sell by the trade deadline? I think that is really the only thing to watch for the Brewers this year. Do they sell? Do they get Burns, Adames, Woodruff, any of them out of there at the trade deadline? That's really the only thing to watch. Other than that, Cardinals roll.
Yeah, Cardinals. I mean, when you got Goldie and Arenado on the same team, it's really hard to bet against them. Yeah, I think Jim makes a good point. It'll be really interesting to see what happens with the Brewers. I don't think Corbin Burns stays with them for the entire year, so we'll see how that shakes out. But yeah, Cardinals. Alrighty. Now the NL West, and this was a doozy last year. I mean, you saw the Dodgers confident, 110 plus wins, whatever they had, right? And, talk about choking. My goodness gracious. Those Padres were good, really good. And now you're telling me that Tatis is back in 20 games. They got Xander Bogaerts. They extended Machado. Oh, yeah, Juan Soto is in the outfield. Not sure if you're aware of that. Their rotation definitely needs some work. Don't get me wrong. The fact that they signed Seth Lugo, with Lugo only signing there with the expectation to be a starter, is stretched out. That's a red flag number one. Love you, Lugo, but there's a reason why you haven't been a starter consistently in a while now. That rotation worries me, but I know how that management is, led by AJ Preller, great ownership too, that they're going to go heavy at the trade deadline. They still have some assets that they can work with. They're going to add pitching by the trade deadline 1,000%. It's just a matter of who. If Burns is available, don't be surprised if the Padres be madmen and oversell, because, again, they're so all in right now. That's why all those contracts are backloaded, starting with Machado. The first couple of years are like, 14 mil each or so on his new extension. I think the Padres are going to win the NL West. I really do. I think that they are in a position, even with a lackluster rotation right now, that they have enough star power and that experience from topping the Dodgers. I feel like they finally have that moxie, that swagger, knowing that they can dethrone what has been the head honcho in that division for the past decade plus. So, Dodgers, especially after losing Trey, Gavin Lux is now out for the entire year. I got to go with Padres.
Petting him?
Shout out to Hogwatch.
Shout out to Borna, a.k.a. Shout out, you guys know you know. Shout out to you, Borna.
Look, man, I would feel really stupid picking the Dodgers not picking the Dodgers until someone just actually comes in and beats the doors off them. I think that Giants 2021 season is just it's somewhere in between a fever dream and a miracle in hindsight. Great. I think the Giants are going to have an improved season from last year. I think the Giants are going to probably contend for a postseason spot this year. But I'm going way off topic. I just can't imagine how I would be able to look myself in the mirror if I'm picking anybody but the Dodgers until they're so consistent. They're so good. Yeah, that's all I got. I'm not gonna pretend like I have any more than that.
Mike. Elliot just subscribed to you, but he said he doesn't want the kiss. He's okay.
All right, I'll settle for that. Thank you.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with you. I'm sticking with the Dodgers. I wanted to pick the Padres. I really do. They got a lot of momentum coming into this season. I just think the Dodgers are, at least for the regular season, are just a little bit better in my opinion. Now, when it comes to playoffs, that's a different story. But the Dodgers, to me, still have a lot of depth in the organization. Sure, Trey Turner's not there, but they still got a really good lineup. Starting pitching is definitely looking more thin than it has in recent years. But with the Dodgers, they got prospects for days. If they want to go out and get some pitching by the deadline, they can go do that. Bullpen still looks really solid. Like you said, until someone actually beats them, I can't go against the Dodgers. But postseason, a completely different story. But for now, I'll go Dodgers.
Yeah, we're talking about regular season. Like in a short series, in a 7-game series, I think the Padres could get over on LA. But you go 162, I think the Dodgers probably end up taking it. I would not be surprised if they do the same thing with Noah Syndergaard that they did with Tyler Anderson and Andrew Heaney. I think Dustin May is good. Walker Buehler, we know, won't be back until maybe late. And if they can add him for the stretch run in September, that would be huge. So I'll roll with the Dodgers one more time.
I got to go with the Padres. I think a comfortable Juan Soto, a Manny Machado, who was an MVP caliber player last year, betting on himself and getting the bag again. I mean, it's just hard for me to bet against him. Starting rotation is great. Infield, outfield, great. Bullpen's good. I mean, I think that they're gonna take it this year and dethrone the Dodgers. It's crazy because you think about the potential of that team, and obviously there's very much a world where the potential doesn't meet at all. Like say Tatis when he returns is just not that guy. Basically has a struggling off year the way that Acuna had this past year because of his injuries. That very much is in the cards. And Xander, but like just the fact that they have Xander now, Ha-Seong Kim is an elite glove in that infield too. Jay Cronenworth just there. I think he's actually going to have a very good year because of how deep this lineup is now. He's going to see some nice pitches. Like they're just all around. They're just stupid talented. So again, again, in agreement with Richie there. Padres really nice. Dodgers wouldn't shock me at all. And the San Francisco Giants, if they make it, it's because Michael Conforto is going to have himself a 40 home run season. Shout out to you, Mike. All right, now we got into all those predictions. So now let's do championship. We'll skip the DS. We'll just go. Oh, you want to do awards for? Yeah, let's do awards. Okay. I like the way you think. All right, let's do awards. So let's start with Rookie of the Year. We'll do AL and NL and then pass it around. For AL, it's really hard for me not to pick Gunnar Henderson. As much as I am a lover of Oscar Luis Colas, for those that don't know, is a stud prospect in the White Sox organization, played overseas when he then got signed by the White Sox a couple years ago. Actually, when I first started my channel in December 2020, one of the first videos I did was on Colas and how I would have loved if the Mets could get him, because at the time, a guy pumping 90 plus on the gun with his heater, viewed as almost like, the Cuban version of Ohtani. It never really got the pitching aspect once he, of course, signed with the White Sox and entered the organization. But, really big arm, a guy that I could definitely see thrive. But the reason why I don't think he's going to win, possibly, is just because I don't know how much time he's going to get. Like, I really don't know how much opportunities the White Sox are going to give him this year. But he's a sleeper. So, but still got to go with Gunnar Henderson. Then for the NL, Corbin Carroll just signed a $110 million contract, and this guy is still eligible for Rookie of the Year. Absurd. So it's really hard not to pick Corbin, but I'm going to go 1A, 1B here. Corbin is my offensive pick, that I would say. But, pitching side, if one trumps the other, I'm going to biasly say Kodai Senga, just because Senga, savvy vet coming over from Japan. Vet as in he's already in his late 20s, played a decade there. I think as long as he can stay healthy, he can really surprise people this year and be solid number 3, number 4 for the Mets. So one of those two I feel pretty confident about. And then Gunnar Henderson, I think, takes the cake there for the Orioles at the AL.
I wish you didn't. I wish you would have stopped talking like a minute earlier, because I was going to turn around. I don't know if you could see it. This looked way cooler in my head of just just doing that.
I'm sorry.
So yeah, that's the NL pick. I like Tristan Casas in the American League. Ooh. I think that.
I'm gonna drink to that one.
That boy, nice.
Oh man, I like that. Thank you for that.
Did you play up there? There's some guy just made a great catch in the World Baseball Classic. Sorry, fellas.
Yu Chang is dominating this World Baseball Classic. Just pointing that out.
Chinese Taipei.
Yeah. Yep. For American League, here comes Giraffe Nick Robbie again, but I'm going Brian Bayo. He was rather solid in a few starts last year. Didn't go as deep into games as he would, as I would like. But ERA was a 4.71 last year, but the FIP was a 2.94. So the projections for the future look good. I think he reminds me a lot, not fully, because no one will ever be like Pedro Martinez, but he has some stuff that's just really good. Really like Brian Bayo. I think he's going to have himself a good year. I'm going to go Corbin Carroll, National League as well. That dude is nasty. He's going to be really good. I really like his game. He's just overall just so many tools, hit for power, average, speed, good in the field. Yeah, those are my rookies of the year.
Interesting. I'll toss the mic back if you want to have a different thought on that. But Spencer Strider last year was basically the second coming of Jacob deGrom. Like, he was unbelievable, and he did not win the NL Rookie of the Year. You still think Brian Bayo could do it? If Spencer Strider can be that damn good and not win the NL Rookie of the Year, that's the thing.
You gotta get a picture sooner or later. You gotta get a picture sooner or later.
Right. I actually think that in the AL, I guess we're just going to take turns blowing the Red Sox. So Masataka Yoshida could be really interesting because, I mean, look, he coming over from a pro league, kind of like Senga, right? But they're still considered rookies. And if he can acclimate and Gunnar Henderson struggles a little bit, Masataka Yoshida could surprise people here. I think it's between Henderson. I think it's between Henderson and Yoshida. Brian Bayo is very interesting because he's already had a taste. So he's had to maybe go through some of those the rocky starts that you would have as your first go. So, but I'm gonna say it's between Yoshida and Henderson, and I'm gonna lean Yoshida in the AL, and then in the NL, fascinating. Jordan Walker's spring training has catapulted him to the top of the 2023 NL Rookie of the Year odds. It was Corbin Carroll at like plus 200, but that's gone back to plus 500 because of Jordan Walker. And Jordan Walker's at plus 350. Here's the problem with Jordan Walker. We don't even know if he's going to start the season at the major league level. And on top of it, Jordan Walker would be one of 7 guys trying to roll at 4 of the positions because he's not going to take any third base time away from Nolan Arenado. You have the 3 outfielders in St. Louis right now. It's Nootbaar, it's O'Neill, and it's Carlson. And you got to think the Cardinals are going to give the first month to figure out, okay, can O'Neill bounce back? Do we have something with Nootbaar? Can Carlson start to show some of that promise? So the Cardinals are going to give those guys time. And then at DH, you have Juan Yepez, and you also have Alec Burleson hanging out there that's going to get that 4th outfield spot and get those DH reps. So I've just given you 6 guys, and I haven't even said Jordan Walker yet. So for that reason, I'm still going to lean Corbin Carroll, even though the odds makers are starting to go get wood on Jordan Walker. But I'm going to stick with Corbin Carroll.
All right. So for AL, I'm thinking I'm going to hop on with Gunnar. I honestly really like the swagger that the Orioles have. And I think that Adley did a great job of ushering that in last year. So I think he's going to take it for the AL. NL, I'm going to go a little bit off the board. And I think he's going to maybe go under the radar a bit more. His name wasn't said yet, but I think Miguel Vargas. I think he's going to have a good opportunity in the infield, go ahead and get a lot of reps. So I think it's the Dodgers. They have the best prospects for a reason. I think he's going to get a good opportunity, and I think he's going to take it home. Awesome. Okay, now let's get on. Well, actually, let me address the donation too. Anthony Volpe is really impressing Yankees camp and is the only reason why I'm not considering shouldn't say not considering. The only reason why I'm not picking a Volpe or even a Peraza is because the Yanks need to prove it. Like, I'm concerned that they may start with Volpe, for example, and then if he has a cold streak to start the year, it's like, oh, the best thing since sliced bread, IKF, he's coming right back in. So that's my biggest concern. I know that the Yankees still have this stubbornness with their prospects, and they tend to wait too long a lot. So that's the only thing. There just isn't a lock. Like, same thing, for example, people are saying, why, like, Brett Beatty. I love Brett Beatty, and I think he has the utmost potential to potentially be in that realm at the NL. But again, Mets have Eduardo Escobar. So even if Beatty starts here on the roster, there's no guarantee that he's going to be a starter every day. So I'm really viewing this on availability. How much playing time these guys expected to get from the jump. Gunner's starting right away. Kodai starting right away. And, of course, Corbin Carroll. I mean, you don't give a guy a $100 million contract to be a part-time player to start the year. So those were my rationales. I would just like to emphasize that. Yeah.
Hit the like. Thumbs up, like.
So with Corbin, I almost think, it's awesome for him. Congratulations on getting the bag. I think that's going to put undue pressure on him now.
Might.
I think with him getting the Rookie of the Year, along with that contract, it's going to be a lot for. I mean, it's going to be a lot for anybody.
Mhm.
But I think,
Good point.
especially first time in the league, that it's gonna be a bit overwhelming.
It could be.
That's a good point. If there's one thing that I think could benefit him again is the fact that he's playing for the Diamondbacks. So while there's a pressure, at least he's pressure from a small market club. How many Diamondbacks fans, if say Corbin Carroll gets off to a cold start, it's not like he's gonna get beat up on social media the way that us Mets fans, not me, but the fan base as a whole, would certainly do. But yeah, no, that's still a very good point. And Zach says, so I answered that about Zach. Let's see. Closest thing to Pedro right now is Luis Castillo. Interesting.
That's a good take.
That is a good take. I actually like that. Jack, appreciate that donation. All right, so let's get into now ALCS, NLCS. ALCS is the Astros because of course it is. But who they're going to match up with is really interesting here.
Let's go, Jays.
You didn't even pick them. Okay. So I'm trying to map this out how the playoff format would work. So if it's the Astros, like I'm trying to think.
The playoff format is this.
Okay. Like
The
explain.
Astros go to the ALCS.
Yeah.
And the Blue Jays go to the ALCS.
Okay. I don't hate that. That's the thing. I really don't. And I also don't think the Yankees are going back to the ALCS. So I'll say that right now. I think that they get cut short before then. It's just a matter of who's that team going to be to kind of surprise people, get all the way there again. And the reason why I asked about the format is, like, for example, there's not a possibility that it could be Seattle because they're coming out of the same division, right?
Depends on the
Oh, to
seeding.
meet up in the ALCS, yeah, it would depend on if they were like if they were the number 6 wild card and Houston was number 1 or number, it could still happen.
Seeding matters.
Yep.
All right.
You're so deep in thought.
I know. I'm gonna go with Seattle. I don't know if that's realistic. I don't love that. Obviously, I think there's one team that's really going to stand out again. So Astros, Mariners. I think Seattle's going to take another step forward this year. I really, really like them. I think they're going to be in such a nice spot by the trade deadline or competing so heavy that they will make some moves. And I really think that will kind of help propel them. And then NLCS, Padres. This pains me. Padres, Mets.
So you could do Padres. I'm sorry. So you could go Houston, Seattle if Seattle was the 1 seed and Seattle. Wait, what?
No.
If Houston was the 1 seed and Seattle was the 6 seed, that's how you could do it.
Okay. So it's not not necessarily likely.
Right.
All right. Before I make my prediction, I want to say I've now kicked my alcoholism habit. We're on water. No more getting smashed. I'm a good boy now. Astros beat Cleveland. Braves beat the Mets.
Oh, you picked your what? Okay.
I like it. Now these can change. I can wake up tomorrow and just completely change my mind. But I'm gonna go ALCS. I'll go Blue Jays Mariners. National League Championship Series. I'll go Mets Dodgers.
Cool. Okay.
Oh, that'd be
I'll
awesome.
take that.
Dude, that'd be awesome. I like that so much. I'm going to copy that in the National League. Mets Dodgers. Mets Dodgers. I will take that, and I'm going to go. Wait, who did you say? You said Blue Jays Mariners. I'm going to say Blue Jays Astros.
All right, I'm going to say Astros. I mean, Astros. It's kind of hard to pick against. I think that they're going to play. I'm gonna keep going with the Twins. I think the Twins might have that season that the Phillies had.
The Carlos Correa factor.
Yeah, I think that they might be the dark horse here.
That's a good pick.
Now for the NL, I mean I have to say the Mets. I'm thinking the Mets, and I honestly I would really love to see the Mets run it back with the Padres. So I'm going to go with that. I think along with the regular season, I think the Padres bring it to the playoffs, and they have a good matchup with the Mets.
Listen, I mean this so respectfully. The Twins have to win a playoff game. Like
Please.
one of them
Please.
before we can do this. They haven't won. I don't think they've won one in like going on 20 years.
Wait. But he's talking Philly. What had Philly done?
They won a World Series
Until-
this.
But that was a long time. That was yes, but that was
2009.
Eight.
It had been a while. It had been a while.
But listen, like Twins, you got to do something for me first. And by the way, if the Mets play the Blue Jays in the World Series, they're smoking them.
Starts fighting him. Jumps over the gun.
Take me on.
Alec Manoah.
Leave. Stop it.
One name. Alec Manoah will single-handedly. Alec Manoah will win 2 of those games, and will be the MVP of the World Series in a Mets Blue Jays World Series.
I would make a comment about Alec Manoah, but my podcast co-host already has, so I'll refrain. I'll refrain. If you know, you know. All right, so World Series winners. San Diego. Hog, I just jinxed the shit out of you. Padres.
It's tough to repeat, but I'm going Stros.
All right, I'm going Mets in the National League, Mariners in the American League, Mets in 6.
All right.
We're not worthy.
All right, so I had Blue Jays and Astros. I hate this. I really do. But Astros and God, they got to stay healthy. These arms can't fall off. Astros and Mets. That's my World Series. Are we giving the champs right now? It's a good thing Alec Manoah doesn't pitch for the Astros.
Oh, you know what? I just realized I didn't even say who would come out of the AL, but it would be the Astros.
Yeah. So I got Astros and Mets. And I'm gonna go Astros.
Can you just imagine JB?
Oh, it'd be amazing,
Yeah,
right?
that'd be awesome.
Yes. Yes.
Stros. Oh my god.
So I'm thinking Mets and Astros. I kind of sounded like a broken record here. I think the Mets make a big splash at the deadline. That's what I'm thinking. They kind of, I guess, beat around the bush this past deadline. So I think they really make a big splash this year. So I think that whoever that is, I think that's going to really help out this year.
That's smart because when you think about, so if the Mets are smart, which I Bleav they are smart and they are well funded, you have a situation where when you look at the free agent class coming up, if they can get in early on the trade market, because I think the trade market is going to be wild next offseason because the free agent market is not strong like it has been the last couple of years. So the Mets could get somebody before there's an offseason frenzy, like the Brandon Woodruff, the Corbin Burns, anybody else that's on the trade market. It's going to be nuts in the offseason. So if you could get them for your run to try to make a postseason run and get ahead of that offseason frenzy, it would be well done. Do you want to do MVPs?
Yeah, we'll do MVPs, and then I got one last thing, and then we'll wrap things up. All right. So, yeah, great pick so far. So, MVPs, this is fun. I mean, AL MVP is the man who's going to be hitting the open market, Shohei Ohtani. I mean, you don't even need to think twice. I will say this, though. If Ohtani does, say, have hiccups, or God forbid, if he deals with injuries, not that I wish. Love Ohtani, obviously. And if Trout can stay healthy, it would be cool to see kind of, a little bit of a comeback story with Mike again. Just in the sense of, like, since Ohtani, has come into town the past couple of years, Trout's back, hasn't been great. Is it going to continue to get worse, or can he really, play the majority of the season this year? It's going to be fun to watch, but got to go with Ohtani. Then from the NL, this is again a tough one too. But you look at all these teams and you look at everyone available here in the NL, and if I'm picking the Padres to win the World Series, then I'm going to pick Juan Soto to win the NL because, last year, great OBP, still high OPS, low average though, was getting walked a lot, but was swinging missing through some pitches that normally you're seeing Soto barrel or taking too much a little bit. I think Soto is going to really kind of, bounce back in that sense. I think we're going to see more of the Juan Soto of old this season. And again, keep in mind that he's in such a deep lineup where, you look at him and it's not like that, oh, he's just the one easy target like he was with the Nats. Now you have, again, Machado, Xander, Tatis, Cronenworth, etc. to deal. Even Han-Sung Kim, solid batter. Like all guys that you got to deal with. So, yeah, I'm going to go Soto MVP, NL and AL. I forgot who I said already, but you heard it in the stream. So
This is purely first instinct, gut guess, and nothing more. Jose Ramirez and Austin Riley.
I love to hear it. Austin Riley, though.
I always wonder because I've gone with Jose Ramirez as an MVP. I wonder if he's going to have the same thing Manny Ramirez had, like really good player, just never good enough to win, like not good enough, but like never just got enough votes for the MVP. You know what I mean? I love that pick though. I'm going to go Ohtani and Soto. Honestly, I think Ohtani would have won it last year if Judge didn't have a historic season. You never know with health with Ohtani. But I feel like they've actually figured it out, with him. They've found a way to like manage him, and I think he's going to be fine. Soto is going to explode this year. He had kind of a down season last year compared to his normal numbers, but I think he's got more protection in that lineup now, which he already had before, but now he has even more. I think he's going to be very motivated, obviously, trying to land the bag. He's going to get the bag, but who knows? Have an amazing season this year, get even more of a bag. I think Soto is going to kill it this year. So those are my MVPs.
So I have a question. Do you think in the National League that Juan Soto can win the MVP if Ronald Acuna goes 40-40? Do you think that it's so? Let's say Juan Soto's career home run high is 34. His career high batting average is 351. Outside of that, he's never been over 313. Right, and that was a COVID season, right? So
I could still see a world where Soto wins the MVP even if Acuna got 40-40, which he's not going to this year. I just want to throw that out.
I think he will.
I agree with every word Tyler just said.
Yeah, like I don't think Acuna's going to get 40-40. I think that here's what I'll say.
Go ahead.
And this is not me wishing it, by the way. Acuna is honestly one of my favorite players in the league, which sucks because he's on the Braves. But I don't think Acuna is going to stay healthy throughout the year, too. I think he's going to continue to deal with some nagging ailments. Mm-hmm. And again, look at Byron Buxton, for example. When healthy, he's so elite as an overall player. But now they're not even letting the guy run the bases because they're just that concerned. And I think we're going to see points throughout the year where that could happen with Acuna as well, where they might not want him running as much if, say, he tweaks a hammy or something like that. That's a very realistic possibility. Right. So I think Soto, I think he's going to have a good year, and I think his OPS will be north of 1,000. So because of that reason, I'm still comfortable saying Soto right now.
Can I give you a crazy dark horse in the American League? Eloy Jimenez.
That's solid.
Like what?
Like and subscribe. Like and subscribe. Like and subscribe. Okay. Ronald ran last year when he was not 100%. I think you saw him in the feast. He ran 40 times last year, which is insane. He stole 29. He was caught 11 times. And this year with bigger bases, with the pickoff limits, I think he can get 11 more steals than he had last year in 119 games. He played 100. Once he came back, he was back. So I think Acuna does stay healthy. I think he cranks 40 homers. I think he gets 40 steals. I think that's enough to get the MVP in the NL. And in the AL, I don't need to really explain it. It's, for me, Ohtani.
All right, so I'm just going to start with Otani. I mean, it's just a runaway favorite. So I was going to say Arenado. I mean, Arenado is Mr. Consistent for me. But now that I'm thinking about it, I think I'm going to go Trey Turner. I think the larger base paths are really going to help him. He's joining a team with Bryce Harper and honestly a great pitching staff. I think that he's got a really good chance this year. I really do.
Yeah, it's like when the way they have situated the bases, it's like it's 6 inches closer from first to second and from second to third. That's crazy for some of these guys.
And speed is such a massive element in Turner's game. So like when he starts to lose his legs, and whenever that'll be, that's where you're really going to see the offensive production take a dip. But he's at his peak right now, and I think that's a phenomenal pick. I mean, just in spring training alone, you're seeing games on average, at least one more stolen base per game. Like stolen base is going to be through the roof. Contact hitting is going to be through the roof. With you were very limited with your shift now. That is all Turner's bread and butter. So I actually really like that pick. I think he's going to kick the Mets. This year? Like, I think it's going to be straight. Like, it's not going to be fun. We just got to hope that we can contain him enough at least. Same thing with Schwarber too. I just can't, man. But okay. So now final thing before we wrap things up. Cy Youngs. Oh my, I forgot about them too. My God. We're going to 3 hours later. All right. No. I need to think for a second about Cy Youngs.
Do you want to come back?
Yeah, I'll come back.
All right. What's the other thing you want? I'll just speed run everything.
The other thing will be biggest disappointment this year.
I will speed run through everything right here.
I
All
might
right.
need a second to
You ready?
think about that.
All right. Corbin Burns is the National League Cy Young because he's going to be pissed.
disappointment, I guess team.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Corbin Burns. I'm thinking Luis Castillo, and I had that in my head before we ever made the Pedro comment, so I'm not biting your flow there. Biggest disappointment, I am thinking Toronto.
Get wrecked, Jim.
Oh my God! The one thing about Toronto, the one thing about Toronto last year, they had a target on their back. So they remember how hyped they were coming into last year. Everyone was picking them, and now this year I feel like they're not getting that same kind of hype, and I feel like they almost like that. Yeah, I feel like for me, biggest disappointment will be the Phillies. I think they coming off a World Series. I don't even have them making the playoffs. So that's just me. I think the Phillies will be the biggest disappointment, personally.
Also, just to bring it back, I mean this very respectfully. Those of you guys who have Baltimore making the playoffs, I think that's a team they need another year.
Ooh, yeah.
I mean that very nicely.
No, I mean the disappointment. It's a good point. Like if Philly fans think another run to the World Series is a lock, that's not guaranteed. And Orioles fans that was fun last year, but it's not. I don't think it gets better. But I think the biggest disappointment is going to be Milwaukee. I think Milwaukee struggles, and I think Milwaukee ends up trading one or two players away. Let me get back to the Cy Young thing. So in the AL, I'm going to go Shane Bieber. I'd love to go Alek Manoah. I'd love to go with my boy, but I'm going to go Bieber. And in the NL, I don't know, man. I really feel like it could be Corbin Burns. But here's the thing. If he gets traded to the American League halfway through the run, that's going to kill his chances, right? Right. If he gets traded, that's going to really jack it up. But then again, how motivated is he? I got to think he's motivated for the fans and for the teammates, but for that front office. So I'll go for NL. Damn, I think I got to take a sleeper. I'm just looking at the odds. You've got Max Fried at 1,500, Wheeler at 1,700. Wheeler's been great since showing up in Philly. I'm gonna take a sleeper. I'm gonna say Zach Gallen.
All right. So for the biggest disappointment, I'm gonna have to say, even though I think that they're gonna make some noise this season, I think it has to be the Padres. The Padres are set up like an absolute all-star team. Mm-hmm. The only expectation that they have is realistically to get to the playoffs and maybe make it to the World Series. And I mean, I feel like that's all that they're able to do. Cy Youngs, honestly, I kind of do like the Manoah idea. So I might say him for the AL. I think he's a guy who likes to play with the chip on his shoulder. He had a great season last year. I think he's going to be my pick.
Nice.
And you know what? I'm going to go with Max Scherzer from the NL. I think Verlander coming back is going to give him enough juice to squeak out another Cy Young. I mean, buddies from their Detroit days, I think it's going to really unlock a Max Scherzer that is going to bring him home the award.
They may get into a spot where they're competing with each other all year long and could drive and push each other.
All right. So I'm very conflicted with the AL. There's 3 guys on my mind. It's Jacob deGrom, Framber Valdez, and Logan Gilbert. All for different reasons, obviously. The only reason why I don't see Jake getting is because my man's can you stay healthy? I don't know. Like, so that for that reason, kind of have to rule you out, right? You have to prove it. So Jake, I'm gonna say no. Just I don't know if he's gonna get enough starts in. And then you have Valdez and Gilbert, and that's tricky. Like you can even argue Wayne Kirby in there too, or Christian Javier, like 1A, 1B. Not Wayne Mets first base coach and former Met for that matter, Wayne Kirby. George Kirby is what I meant to say, but I'm going to go with. It's tough, but I'm gonna go with Valdez. He impressed the hell out of me this past year's playoff. I think he's a stud. And from the NL, I think I'm going to go with Tony Gonsolin. Great season last year. You know, would have won it for sure if Sandy didn't win it. So I think this is Tony's time to shine. I fear that Sandy got worked so hard last year that, you know, is going to get a little bit of a reality check this year. Not that I wish injury, but there's a reason why pitchers on average aren't getting pushed the way that Sandy just was last year. I think it's going to catch up to him at some point. So I'm going to go with Gonsolin and I'm going to go with Valdez. Those are my picks. And then
Do we have any other super chats to get to?
yeah, we'll get to them. I just want to share my biggest disappointment as well. Did you share yours?
Yes,
Padres. My biggest disappointment team-wise this year. Oh God. I mean, Blue Jays, I'm not gonna lie, that isn't a terrible pick. But at the same time, like I could see it either way. And I can't say Red Sox because your expectations are low heading into the year. So damn. I'm shit. Yeah. Give me
Cy Young.
Oh, you didn't even do your Cy Young?
Wow.
We skipped Robbie.
All right, we'll give Wardy another minute. Cy Young's National League. I'm gonna go Aaron Nola. Aaron Nola was really good last year. I don't think people realize how good he was. He had a lot of innings last year. Let me ask you guys this: do you think if Aaron Nola stays on the pace that he's on for the rest of his career for the next 10 seasons or so, do you think he could be a Hall of Famer?
Could be, yes. Will I say so? No. Like I don't know. I can't comfortably.
Did you say your biggest disappointment?
I was just letting.
Yes,
you finish that.
you said. Who was yours? Phillies. You said right.
Yeah.
All right, good. Yeah, I'm not losing it too much yet.
Well, let me get were you done with the Aaron Nola thing? Sorry.
I spaced out. For
No, you're
about
good. You're good.
2 seconds.
So I'm gonna go Aaron Nola, National League, American League. I'm gonna go Shane McClanahan. Shane McClanahan was really good last year. His velocity was even better last year. His changeup curveball was way better than it was in 2021. His slider was actually down last year, which was weird because it was good in 2021. I like him. I like him a lot. I gave my biggest disappointment. I said the Phillies, right?
Mm-hmm.
How about biggest surprises?
Let me do my
Yeah, do your disappointment.
We got to speed run this. We're getting pretty late.
Yeah, I know. We have to wake up mad early tomorrow where you have such a long day coming. All right. So biggest disappointment, as much as this pains me and I hope I'm proven wrong, I think it's going to be another year of the White Sox. You know, prove me wrong, you SOBs. Like anything that could have went wrong last year. You didn't do too well. You got Andrew Benintendi, the contact king. Congratulations. Like that's not enough to move the needle for me. So I hoping you do better than what I expect. Biggest surprises this year. Biggest surprise this year in regards to performance, players stepping up because they were low key last year, but no one paid attention, and that is the Arizona Diamondbacks. I think the Diamondbacks are a sneaky team this year. I think they'll be around 500 because it's so hard in that division. But they're going to be better. I like what the D-backs are doing. I really do. Even without Varsho, Yuli's solid, and they got that phenomenal catching prospect, Gabriel Moreno. So
White Sox are making the playoffs.
okay.
Damn you, Wardy. You took mine. I'll go a step further, though. I got the Diamondbacks making the playoffs.
What?
Third wild card.
What did he say?
Let's do it. Yeah, you like that? You like that hot take, everyone? Yeah, you like that? You like that hot take? Yeah.
We're doing biggest surprise.
Biggest surprises.
They're gonna be my third. They're gonna be like the Guardians of last year. No one was picking the Guardians at all.
I thought that they were going to be dumpster fire.
Diamondbacks have a good young team. Good off. They definitely need some more pitching. The back end of that bullpen actually does not look too bad. You added Chafin. You got Ginkel back there as well. Melanson is always Melanson. He'll be fine. They got some guys. They got some young pitching too. Dre Jameson is a breakout candidate this year. Ryan Nelson is a good young pitcher as well. I like the Diamondbacks. I really do. I'm with you on that one.
Now, here's a question for all of you. Where do the Rangers sit in regards to surprise? Because they've had a lot of hype throughout the offseason, but I think it's fair to say that the expectations with them throughout the common baseball fan, not solely focusing on Ranger fans, just common baseball fans, is that we're still not expecting them to be anything better than the third seed, right? Out of that division. So like that's an interesting one. Like if you pick a surprise, I don't think that's a bad pick, but they're that one where I really don't know how to evaluate them.
I think the Rangers are going to actually be the Mariners' thorn, right? It's going to be the thorn in the Mariners' side this year because everything they did to upgrade the rotation, the upgrades last year to the lineup, and then on top of it, Nathaniel Lowe.
So underrated.
Oh yeah, last year was his breakout. I don't know if anybody noticed it. So this year's going to be his outbreak. He's going to be great. Jace Jung is the truth, and he's healthy. Texas is going to be tough. I think Texas is going to really be a pain in the ass for Seattle. For my surprise, I'm going to say the Pittsburgh Pirates will finish above 500.
Wow.
82 wins for my Pirates.
Jim's on his third drink.
I jumped on the Pirates bandwagon before my third drink. I jumped on the Pirates bandwagon about a month ago. I like O'Neal Cruz Jr. He started, so one of his things was he was a StatCast darling, right? Hitting the ball up 5,000 miles an hour, right? But towards the end of the season, he actually got his batting average up. So if he can continue that, great. Key Brian Hayes is one of the best defensive third basemen in all of baseball. Brian Reynolds is poised for a bounce back season. I think that they've got Nick Gonzalez. They've got a lot of pieces that they're building. You bring in G-Man Choi, you bring in Connor Joe, you bring in Carlos Santana. They made so many additions. The pitching is going to be the piece. Can Mitch Keller do his thing? Is Contreras something? Bednar at the back of the bullpen? I'm giving you a ton of names. And if they were not a near or one game over 500 team, I wouldn't be able to give you all these names. So I'm going to say Pittsburgh 82 wins.
I don't know how I follow that up. I'm going to say the Angels. I think the Angels get a wild card berth. Honestly, I mean, this is kind of do or die for them, especially with Shohei. I think they're going to surprise a lot of people. I think they're going to have a great season. And as far as the Rangers, I think they're relying on a lot of ifs. They're really banking on DeGrom being DeGrom, which I hope he is. I mean, there's nothing better than seeing video game like DeGrom like in 2021. Absolutely unreal.
I want to throw in one thing about DeGrom. He hasn't thrown more than 100. Now, I know there's a caveat to this, but he has not thrown more than 100 innings in any season over the last 3 years. So he's due. Now 2024, forget it. He'll pitch 20 innings for you, Texas Ranger fans. I'm sorry, but this is the year where if he's going to actually have a little bit of a run where he can go 150, 160, 170, 180 in terms of the innings count, this would be the year, because the last 3 years have been light.
That's a good point. And I think guys like Heaney, like they had a great season, but I mean, you're banking on them being the same player that they were. Like with him, he's coming from the Dodgers, and then you're going to the Rangers. I don't know. I think there's too many ifs with the Rangers, and I think they're going to disappoint.
Yep.
My final comment about the Rangers, and then we'll wrap things up, is Heaney, great example, phenomenal, changes the arsenal completely last year, destroyed Alonso, fastball up and in, slider, right? Was never that kind of guy before. Why was he that? Because the Dodgers are the Dodgers. They're phenomenal with their analytics group. What's the Texas Rangers analytics staff like? You look at their coaching staff right now. They're a bunch of old heads. You know, you got Bochy, you know, you got Maddox. Okay, that's cool and all. But what are they going to be willing and open to the newfound information? I like the front office that they got for the Rangers, but are they going to be open? Are they going to be open the way that Buck Showalter is open and very open with the front office of the Mets? That's what I'm looking for from the Rangers. If they're open-minded, then I think that they're onto something that they can continue to work with. Again, a rotation that's very deep now. But if they're not, and they kind of go back to those old ways, I mean, even just the thought of the mindset of, you know, baseball from 5+ years ago, the game's changed a lot. So that's my biggest question mark for the Rangers again. But yeah, a lot of great points. Let's get some donations before we wrap this. Let me see if I missed anything. This was a lot of fun. Every time that we get together, we need to do something like this. I'm glad I thought about it. The Angels are not making the playoffs. They always find a way to lose. And don't get me wrong, it wouldn't shock me. Thanks for the donation. The Angels point 2 I like. I'm going to go on a limb, and I think that there will be build up for Ohtani, but I don't think Ohtani gets traded at the deadline. I think that they will be competent enough to really be. They just need to make sure that half the roster doesn't get hurt again, and Trout can stay relatively healthy. They have the depth now that they didn't have last year. You're not having like effing Matt Duffy back cleanup. You know, it's a different Angels team. They got a lot of guys that aren't great defensively that can play. You know, feels like they have a million third baseman, but DH types. But they still have more offensive power. Their rotation, I actually like quite a bit. Their bullpen's solid, aside from giving up Bryce Iglesias for nothing. Thanks for that. As a Mets fan, I don't appreciate that. But yeah, I think that's really all I need to say on the Angels. This was a lot of fun. Again, appreciate you guys doing this, and stay tuned. Make sure to check out on all of our respective channels. We'll probably be coming out with all different types of content coming out from this trip in Port St. Lucie spring training, WBC game tomorrow night for people that are watching live, or replay not long after. A lot of fun stuff's coming in. Of course, make sure to check me out if you're a Mets fan, or if you love to hate the Mets and you like to see genuine reactions. I'm your guy. Check me out, WardyNYM. That's Mike at Stark Raving Sports. They cover all things baseball and sports as a whole. They do great deep dives into the history of the game, individual players, and things of that nature. It's a lot of fun. And then Jim's going to talk.
If you haven't subscribed to Stark Raving Sports, you are underachieving at life.
That is also true. And if you haven't subscribed to Jim at Ballcap Sports, you're just a schmuck like my shirt. Make sure to check it out. Shop.Bleav.com. Thank you very much. And make sure to check out Robbie, of course, at Robbie Hyde. I mean, Robbie kills it. Robbie and Jim do a lot of very similar content, you know, just talking heads, all things baseball. Love to do predictions. I know that Robbie especially loves to deep dive into fan graphs and really get into the numbers. So if you're a big numbers guy, then Robbie is the place to be for sure. And Richie, make sure to check him out. Hopefully sometime this year.
Soon,
big YouTube
soon.
channel. It won't be baseball. It's going to be more than likely UFC. So if we got any fighting fans out there, Richie will be the place to be. And I'll make sure to put you guys on.
It's either going to be UFC or marble race breakdowns. What do you think? You can go with them.
Yeah, I was actually thinking of the Beyblade tournaments too. I like those. That would be pretty cool.
Yes. Yes. Now, I don't want anybody to feel insulted by my comment about if you have. There's still time. If you have not subscribed to Stark Raving Sport, there's still time. You can leave here, whatever channel you're on, and go to his channel and subscribe. So there's still time.
All right. Love you guys. Thank you so much for watching and listening live or on replay. We'll catch you again real soon. Peace out, folks.